It's a beautiful Monday. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the still unentitled podcast network thing that includes me, your host, John Maffio. And I decided that today we're not just going to do a review, which will come later for Detective Pikachu, but we're going to talk about a few topics, an array of topics that have passed by over the course of the past week. First and foremost, though, because I got to get it off my chest, let's start with the hottest topic right now. It's literally the hottest topic. Literally. Game of Thrones. The episode last night. I'm not going to talk about spoilers here, because that's not... I mean, I would tell you up front from the get-go, that I would be talking about it, and I do want to talk about things, but not about the actual details of the show. What I want to talk about is just the way the internet has been lighting on fire. As of late, the past couple years on social media, I've been getting tired and sick of it. I don't want to leave it because I'm interested by it and I get a lot of information out of it. But the bad part of the internet always likes to rear its ugly head when it comes to the fan bases of Star Wars and now Game of Thrones. Because this past season, I've been enjoying it quite a lot. Honestly, I really have. My take on this season right now is that I'm okay with most of the character arcs and character decisions being made by the writers of the show. The whole show's been directed beautifully, by the way. Everybody who's been in to take in all these shots. This show has always been really well lit and well shot and well directed by the whole crew. But what I'm trying to say here is that my gripes and my only real legitimate criticism of the show right now is that I wish there was more time to flesh out these arcs, especially with Daenerys. I don't mind, because I feel like Daenerys, we've had her whole arc. What happened last night made sense to me. If it doesn't make sense, I don't know why it doesn't make sense, because they've been talking about it and leading into it and alluding to it for a long time. Other characters, though, maybe like Cersei, Jaime, even the way they've been handling Euron Greyjoy, certain characters I would have liked to see more with them, just more internal inflections, just moments with these characters to get where they're coming from and where they've been going and where they're going to before, all the shit hits the fan. But last night's episode was tragically beautiful. Really, really sad. And I was on the edge of my seat the entire way through. And I did enjoy the moment with Cersei and Jaime at the end there. But I understand why people are critical of that moment and of the way that scene ended. However, a lot of people I think are just being really, really annoying on the internet right now. I think this is one of those things. I agree with a lot of people that I've been hearing on the internet that I think when something becomes popular, it becomes more susceptible to hate. And I think I'm sure a lot of people have been watching the show since 2011, 2012. I jumped on the bandwagon in 2012. I watched the second season first, and then I went back and watched the first season and went back, and I watched it again in chronological order. And I've been watching week to week, year to year ever since. But people who have been binging the show, including my parents, who are doing that right now, people who are like, I gotta get to the end, and you get to the end and it's not what you wanted, and you're complaining on the internet because it's not what you wanted. What are you doing? It really reminds me of The Last Jedi. Now, I don't want to burn too many fires here, but The Last Jedi had a similar thing where it divided the fan base because people were either really loving it or really hating it. I fall on the side that really loves it, and I still think it's my third favorite Star Wars movie of all time. Yeah. Empire, New Hope, Last Jedi. But I think last night I was scrolling through Twitter, going through the internet, and it's just, they got something to say. The Game of Thrones, the writers, they don't know what they're doing. They're just all over the place. People are just spewing nonsense. I've also seen people talk about it with legitimate criticisms and actually backing up what they're saying. That's what you should be doing. Instead of just throwing negativity out into the fucking wild, pardon my French, just have a good reasoning for it, please. I'm tired of people it must be really fun. Where you get your energy to just be hateful and spiteful. I gotta commend you, because I don't know where people get this energy to do this week in and week out. I do have my gripes, but overall, it's been a really well-directed and mostly decently choreographed show this season. A lot of things that are happening are working for me. Again, my criticism and my problem here is I wish that we had more time. I would have liked a 10 episode season, or even a shorter season 9. Have a full season 7, season 8, and then do a shortened 9th season. But I understand. Here we go with the Star Wars again. I think somebody said this already, but I think it's because the directors, the showrunners of the show, Benioff and Weiss, are off to do their Star Wars trilogy, which we're going to get to in a little bit. So they had to rush out this Game of Thrones and end it so they could start production finally and get the ball rolling on Star Wars. What are you going to do? They couldn't have passed it off to somebody they trust for another season instead of, producing on the side while they're doing Star Wars. I don't know what the real story is here. But the point of all this in talking about Game of Thrones right now is that I just wish people would just have more of a reasoning behind what they say instead of just saying anything and everything. Can people please think before they speak? People don't do that anymore. People just, they see something and they say something instead of just evaluating in their minds, letting the gears roll a little bit. Well, if I say this, what are the consequences of saying these words together in a sentence or sentences? They just say anything, and it pisses me off. It honestly does, but that's why I've been trying to cut back on social media lately, because it's making me a vengeful person. But that's just me. But yeah, overall, I guess if we're ending the Game of Thrones discourse here, it's that if you enjoy it, cool. If you don't enjoy it, cool. Just if you're going to have an argument or a debate, just be careful what you say. And if you have something negative to say, just back up the negativity. Be critical, but be constructively critical. Don't do it just to hate on the writers, hate on the cast, hate on people who are involved in the show who put in long hours. People working 16-hour days to make this show happen. For you, for us, for millions of people around the world, and you're just going to shit on them because of the way the story's going. If you're doing that, no. But it's okay to have a conversation about why you disagree with what's happening. It's totally cool. You could totally be watching this and saying, it's not for me. It's not where I envision the story going based on what you've been doing for the past 7-8 seasons. Okay. Just have a friendly debate, because that's how we make friends here and how we have fulfilling lives, not by being vengeful, two-dimensional robots with no feelings, just hate. No hate, just love. Next, speaking of Star Wars, I want to talk about the new Star Wars trilogy that's coming out starting in 2022, 2024, and 2026. We're getting a 3-year gap from Star Wars movies, but honestly, it's not really a gap because we're going to have content in between that. We're going to have The Mandalorian coming out this fall, maybe season 2 before then even, because they already confirmed that with Jon Favreau. And we're going to get that Cassian Andor show, and Cassian Andor, if you don't know, is a character who is in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which was the spin-off movie about the Death Star being destroyed, or at least how we got the plans to destroy the Death Star. And I'm totally cool with that. I'm in the weird camp that prefers to anticipate my Star Wars movies. I don't need a Star Wars movie every single year. So having 2 years to wait for each individual movie is cool with me. I would have been cool with 3 years, to be honest. But if they only need 2 years in between production years to get the job done, it's fine with me as long as the product is good. We still don't know what the actual story is going to be, but if I had to bet Vegas money, it would be on the Old Republic or sometime thousands of years ago before the current timeline we know now with Luke Skywalker and all them cool cats. But a lot of people have been worried because originally the game plan was similar to Marvel's, where they were going to have more than one movie a year after the saga films ended. We were going to get I think we were going to get a Ben Kenobi movie. We were going to get all these random movies. A Jabba the Hutt movie was out there in the rumor mill. I personally, I'm happy this happened. I'm happy that Solo didn't do well, so that there was a change in progress for Star Wars movies. I don't want there to be an oversaturation of Star Wars, even though it's probably going to happen eventually. And that's just how it is. Personally, again, I could have used more time Like, I wouldn't care if it was 3-year gaps. But we live in a time now where I feel like people they can't wait for things anymore. There's no such thing as waiting. People who are my age or grew up around my age, remember, if you were a fan of Star Wars, you had to wait 3 years for a Star Wars movie. And that's, it's a big thing. We just moved on. We had school, we had things to do, and then 2 years later, you got a trailer for the next movie, and you're like, oh, cool. Can't wait to see it. Now it's like you can't have a movie. We get like, I think people are getting spoiled a little bit by Marvel, because Marvel's been doing such a great job with their movies of putting out quality year after year, more than once a year. Say what you want about certain movies. Personally, certain movies haven't been working the way it has for other people and maybe younger people. But what they've been doing, it really is, as I said it last time, is unprecedented. And it's clear that this movie Endgame felt like a conclusive movie, but they have like a game plan. There's a slate that Disney put out of all their movies leading up till 2027, and there's like 6 or 7 untitled Marvel movies coming out between now and then. So the train ain't stopping. It includes in Guardians 3, it includes an Eternals movie, it includes Spider-Man 3 maybe, Doctor Strange 2. There's a lot of things that are going to happen, and we got to roll with the punches here. But I am personally glad that Lucasfilm and Disney are taking a step back from Star Wars, letting the TV content do its thing first, and then returning back to the movies and trying to make them feel like events by creating, that window of time. And speaking of that too, Disney also owns Fox now, because they're slowly owning everything everything in our lives, including ourselves. Soon they're just going to own every individual person on Earth, and we're going to be literally their minions. Avatar 2 got delayed again. Avatar 2. What is this movie going to be? The first one came out in 2009. It's the highest grossing movie of all time for now, unless Endgame crosses it in the next month or two. And it'll be over 10 years. It'll be 10 years this year since that movie came out. And it'll be 12 years as of now when Avatar 2 comes out. And I feel like nobody talks about Avatar except when the news is for Avatar. Nobody has conversations about Avatar just on their own personal, voluntary being, unless it's brought up to you. And it's kind of funny, isn't that? It was like a cultural event in the moment, and it just kind of disappeared. It's like a really loud friend that goes away for a long time. And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that person. Oh yeah. But I just want a good movie out of this. This is a lot of time to wait for a sequel to a movie. And I know James Cameron likes to really go crazy and delve into pre-production and really just soak himself into his worlds. But I don't know if it's going to be worth the wait. There's going to be 4 Avatar sequels, including this second one. And I just hope what he's doing now, spending for a long time in his life dedicating to these Avatar movies, I hope it's worth it for him, and I hope it's worth it for us, I guess. It must be something if he's really putting all efforts into this. Like, it's going to be like his Harry Potter franchise or something. We'll have to see. But yeah, my consensus right now on Avatar is I just hope that's good. I hope all this talk about it, all this waiting for it, just ends in a pretty fairly fun blockbuster that I'm sure will have something to say, because James Cameron always has something to say in his movies. He likes to put social commentary in his movies, especially Avatar 1 was a big social commentary on the environment. But I don't know. Whenever I think about Avatar 2, I just think of like that movie. It reminds me of another movie, which is called New Mutants, which is not nearly waiting as long, but it keeps getting delayed for reasons. And it's just like, at this point, it's like I'm just tired of thinking about it. Just get rid of it or release it, please. But I feel like we're going to be talking about Avatar 2 coming out for a longer time than I anticipate, but I think just maybe 2021 of December will be the official release date, and we're not going to get a delay anymore. It's been delayed like 5 times since 2014, which I think is the first year that it was supposed to come out. So, and it's finally going to come out, I think. What else do we got to talk about here? I got my notes here. Oh yeah. a couple more things before we get. My last thing will be Detective Pikachu. So look forward to that. And also, I haven't mentioned it already, but I put timestamps down below. So if you want to skip to a certain part of the conversation, you could skip on over. But now we're going to talk about It Chapter 2. This trailer was pretty cool. I like the way it set up a tone and a mood. A lot of people have been using that word tone. It set the tone. With that little moment with Beverly, played by a grown-up Jessica Chastain. Well, Jessica Chastain's obviously grown up, but Beverly, the character from It, is grown up. And she visits her old family home, and it's this creepy old lady, and you know from the get-go that she's kind of off. And then the whole scene is just her, like, dancing around, getting really excited because it's Pennywise getting ready to eat and flesh on fear, and it was creepy. I think it's funny how people are making memes out of it with the creepy, when you forgot your towel in the shower. But I think in context, really well done with the camera work, with the sound effects, with everything going on in that scene. I want to watch it in context of the movie too. And then after that scene, we get like this blockbuster, like cut with epic music, which is like 45 seconds of just shots. And you get that moment with Pennywise at the end, grabbing a firefly or a light and going, hello. Apparently Andy Muschietti, the director of these It movies, and also director of underrated horror movie Mama, which isn't really scary, but it's a pretty cool horror movie, said this one's supposed to be scarier than the first one. And the first one is more of a coming-of-age story, but it does have its scary moments, and when I saw it in theaters, the projection scene, I feel like Jim Carrey, the projector scene was the worst. The first time seeing that, I had a hard time getting through that, because I'm like, please just end. This is like a nightmare incarnate. But if this movie's scarier, bring on the noise. Bring it on. I love the cast of the grown-up actors of the Losers Club. I do love Bill Hader. First of all, moving into Bill Hader, Barry is an incredible HBO show. If you're not watching it and you have HBO, I highly encourage you and implore you to watch it because it is incredible. And last night, I was watching it and I had my hands over my head for like the last 5 minutes of the episode, and then it ended, and I was like, God, they got me. They can't do this to me right now. And it's been doing that every week for the past few weeks. And that's Barry. It's a great show. Go watch it. I love Jessica Chastain. I love James McAvoy. I love the guy who played the sheriff in the Sinister movies. I don't know about the actor who plays the grown-up version of the overweight kid, Ben, I think his name was. I don't know the actor who plays... I don't want to say sorry. Quick spoilers. Quick spoilers. If you watch the first It from 1990, the one who there's one character from the Losers Club who kind of has a problem in the beginning of that part. Yeah, I don't know who the actor who's playing that one either. If you know what I'm talking about, bathtub blood. Yeah. I'm just looking forward to seeing how they conclude this. How are they gonna bring? Is it going to be faithful to the book still? Are we still going to get the giant spider at the end? Are we going to get the giant cosmic turtle, which apparently is the creator of all things? Stephen King was on some good stuff in the 80s. Apparently. But what is the conclusion of the story going to be in relation to the story we were told in 2017? I'm looking forward to it. I bring on a long movie, bring on another 2.5-hour movie if that's what it's going to be. I just want to see all these actors playing around together and acting together and being horrified together, and conquering their fears again 27 years later or whatever it is. I'm looking forward to that. But I think this trailer overall, it does hit the tone really well, and I think save for the last 40 seconds of the trailer feel like your basic run-of-the-mill, get ready, get hyped for the blockbuster of the year type of thing. But I really loved how they set up this trailer with a scene in the beginning. It was pretty cool. And yeah, no surprise. Looking forward to It Chapter 2. Comes out September 6th, 10 days before my birthday. It's going to be a good early birthday present. And now we're going to move into the final topic of the day. 20 minutes into this video, it is Detective Pikachu. Pika, Pika! To say I was looking forward to this movie is an understatement. I've been a big fan of Pokemon for my entire life. I had Pokemon Blue. My starter Pokemon was Squirtle, and it always will be Squirtle. I played Gold, I played Emerald, and I think I stopped after that. But I always kept up with the Pokemon lore afterwards. I stopped playing the games after the third generation. So when Warner Brothers got this Detective Pikachu movie, first I was like, Detective Pikachu? What's this? This is not what I expected from a Pokemon movie, and I dismissed this at first because I'm like, oh, it's just going to be some weird random movie with Pikachu being a detective, and he's voiced by Danny DeVito in the game, so what is this? Why are they doing this? But yeah, I had no excitement for this. But then when it came out, and well, not when it, obviously, when the trailers came out and they started putting out marketing material, I started to realize, oh, this is probably the most perfect way to put people into this world and get them engaged in it without doing your traditional story arc, which might confuse people more if you did like your traditional trainer going on a journey across regions of the Pokemon universe world. And I got really hyped. All the trailers were incredible. All the marketing material that was helped by Ryan Reynolds' incredible witty wit got me really, I can't say I wasn't excited for this movie. I was really ready for this. But I was also aware that it could be a family movie, simply a family movie that will be engaging for fans who grew up with the show too, because we've been around for 20 years. And that's basically what it is. It's a cute movie. It's fun. But the story is bare bones, and it's kind of just an entryway to get people to look around in this world. And I think it might have been intentional on the screenwriter's part to make it so empty and shallow. And it sounds like a criticism, but hold the phone. What I'm trying to say is that the story felt shallow enough that if you're watching this movie, you can interject yourself into this world and just focus your attention almost fully on just the world itself, seeing all the Pokemon around, seeing the underground battles, seeing what's happening in these cities, seeing what's happening in suburban neighborhoods, just really delving yourself into what you would do in this world. And that's really what it is. It's a cute family movie. I think Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu is really good, and I had a prediction about Ryan Reynolds. This is a Star Wars coaster, by the way. I don't know why I'm playing around with it. I think I knew there was a reasoning for why he was voiced by Ryan Reynolds. I'm like, you can't just be a Pokemon voiced by a human being. There's obviously a reason for it, and I was right for that, without saying spoilers. And then I think the story is shallow enough, but it's also engaging enough to just let you go along for the ride, this mystery ride that you could kind of see what's happening and see what's coming the whole way through, but I don't think that's a big problem for me, as it is for a lot of other people, apparently, that I've read and talked and watched online for. What else? I think the world building is the best part of this movie. As I mentioned before, it's really easy to place yourself into this world of characters. There's so many Pokemon on screen all the time that if you're a fan of Pokemon, your head will explode. I was looking in the background all over the place, and I can't fully comprehend in my head every Generation 1 Pokemon, Generation 2 Pokemon I saw. There's a part where the main character visits his old house, and in his room there are posters everywhere of tournaments and battles that took place over the past 20 years, and it's mind-blowing, because then you see things you recognize, you see regions you might recognize, and then they even make reference. You see Mewtwo in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. Mewtwo's in this movie, and they mention something about Mewtwo that directly correlates to the first Pokemon movie. And people have been talking about it online, and I'm finally just realizing that this probably means, it does mean that Ash, Misty, and Brock exist. They're just adults somewhere. They're out there doing something. And that makes me giddy, because I was obsessed. I can't tell you. I really can't tell you how obsessed I was with this show. I used to watch it every morning. I remember I used to watch it in the morning before school. On Saturday, whatever it was, WB. And I used to look forward to the Poke Raps and all that. I had the Pokemon cards. I have them right over, like literally 5 feet away from me. I have my Pokemon cards that I've had since 98, 99. I remember the event that was the Pokemon first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. Whatever the name of that movie was. I think that's what it was called. It was literally an event. It was like the Avengers Endgame, the first Avengers Endgame of my entire life. The entire Atrium Cinema was filled with kids that we all knew. We all knew each other from the same school, and we were all together with our annoyed parents who were like, why the hell are we here doing this? We must love our kids that much, I guess. We can just take a nap. But we were all there. We were all excited, and we all experienced that movie together. We all experienced Ash dying together. We all experienced the NSYNC song together when the Pokemon are fighting their evil clones. Man, I just took a trip back. But yeah, I think families should definitely take their kids to see this. Even if they're not fans of Pokemon, I think this is a good way to get your kids into Pokemon, because they're just gonna be like, "Ooh, look at all the pretty, cute characters. I want a toy." And then you could buy them toys, and then they'll be happy. The characters are fine, minus Pikachu. I think Justice Smith, who was in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, he was in Paper Town, and a couple other things. I like him. His character's fine. His arc is pretty decent. But like nothing to write at home about. His female companion, who reminded me of Misty a lot in the way she was overreacting and acting to things. I like the actress a lot. She was in Blockers. I do agree with her, but like a lot of people are saying that her character was kind of one note. And yes, but I think she actually played her role just like a character would on the animated show back in the day, which made me like her more, honestly. I think in the right context, I think her performance is pretty good, honestly. Maybe even better than Justice Smith's. But Justice Smith carried the movie with his arc and with his role. I think he's a really good actor, and I want to see him in more things. Psyduck is great in this movie. Snubbull is great in this movie. Who is partnered up with Ken Watanabe. Let them fight. I loved him in this movie, and I think if you have an anchor moving forward for a franchise for this, I think you have to bring back Ken Watanabe. He's like the veteran actor of these movies, aside from Ryan Reynolds. You keep him around, please. And I think the third act of this movie is okay. It wasn't anything to write at home about, but it was cool seeing certain Pokemon interact in live action. And the way they do callbacks to the original movie, the original animated movie, and just the original show and anime and video game in general, made me very happy as a fan. And I am very much partial. I mentioned in the tweet, but I'm very partial to the idea of doing a sequel that may or may not include the characters that we were introduced to in this movie, Justice Smith and the girl from Blockers. Maybe doing a more traditional arc of a trainer, 11-year-old trainer who wants to... There's a lot of things you could do now. You can continue the story where we ended off with Detective Pikachu, which would... I can't spoil it, and Justice Smith's character. Or... now that we know the world of Pokemon, like I'm saying, Harry Potter this bish, get a 12 or 13-year-old kid, young kid, great actor, like a Jacob Tremblay, or the girl from Southpaw. I think she's older now, so never mind. Have them do the Ash thing. I want to be a Pokemon master. And then have them meet a couple kids that are their age, roughly similar, along the way, and then have these kids grow up over the course of 2 or 3 more movies. 4 movies, 5 movies. And then, boom, you got a multi-generational franchise that follows the story that we all are familiar with and also teaches new things. Yep, teaches lessons, makes the characters grow. We mature with these characters as they grow, too, and then have this movie franchise end on something pretty sweet. But then you also will always have this world. I could see it happening. I could see this becoming like the next Harry Potter Marvel movie thing. Because Detective Pikachu, it's a fine movie. It's okay. I wouldn't rush to watch it again, but I will buy it because I love Pokemon so much. But it is a good entry point to do tell more stories, I think. And depending on how you play your numbers, it could be pretty cool. It could be pretty cool. And I think it had like a $55-60 million opening weekend at the box office, which is pretty good. Considering Avengers is still out and it's a big blockbuster season, that's a pretty good opening for a Pokemon movie. That's roughly around what the first Captain America and first Thor movies did. It was like 67. It was like 50 to 70 million. I'm forgetting, but I remember it wasn't that high. But for a movie of this stature, that's pretty damn good. We're a half hour in. So yeah. Also, I would recommend Detective Pikachu. I think it's a fun movie. I think I would recommend it more for families with younger kids. If your kids are a fan of Pokemon, definitely see it. If you were ever a fan of Pokemon, definitely see it, just so you could have like a, perspective on it. And I want to know what you guys think. And let me know down below what you think of, like, just in general. Can you see Pokemon being like a big multi-million-dollar franchise that really catches on? Or is this basically what we're going to get, are the cute family movies? And I'm just being too ambitious in my mind about this. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about spoilers. I don't think there's a lot. I mean, you could talk about the movie in spoiler form, but I think basically just go see the movie for yourself if you want to see it. And I would, if they were making more Pokemon movies, if they decide to make more Pokemon movies, I would be down with that. And I think that's it for now. Covered all the topics so far. Spider-Man Far From Home came out too, a second trailer that involves something with the multiverse. And just to be quick about it, I think he's lying about it. But then I also think he'll be lying about it, but then it turns out it's true. But I don't want it to happen because I feel like it would be an excuse to bring back characters that aren't around with us anymore. And it would take away the dramatic weight of a lot of things that happen in these past 22 movies. This whole arc that we've had, you can just be like, oh, you can bring back Tony Stark. Because, yeah. I don't know. I trust Marvel, but I kind of don't want the multiverse to happen because it would be an excuse to do things that take away from what we saw and what we experienced. However, Marvel, I trust them, and I'm sure if they do want to bring out that multiverse tool, they will use it smartly, intelligently, and engagingly for us, the audience. But yeah, that's it for today's Untitled thing. I gotta use better words. Eventually I will have a title, like an official title with an intro and the whole 9 yards. But for now, I'm just gonna keep talking. I want to thank everybody who's watched this so far. Thank you for sticking around. Again, if you didn't want to see everything, timestamps are down below if you want to revisit certain topics. And let me know anything that we talked about down below. Let's talk about it. I'll be back next week with more news stuff. And thank you again for watching. Have a great week. And one more thing. I did have a Star Wars podcast of sorts called Wake Up and Smell the Tauntaun. That was like a morning show where I talked about Star Wars news every week. Would you like to see that kind of thing? Where I have like a regular news show, like Mondays here, and then Tuesdays or Wednesdays talk about Star Wars stuff, strictly. If you would like that, comment down below with a hell yeah. If not, say, hell no, you suck, stick to what you like, or something like that. I don't know. Be creative about it if you want. But yeah, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I'm John Maffio. This has been another Untitled podcast premiere thing brought to you by lampposts. Because when you're in the dark and you need a light to read a book, lampposts got you covered. See you guys next time. Have a great one.